Welcome to an entirely new era of IMS Radio. Some things are the same. Jeff is still getting major texts from like Derek Queen and Matthew Hodge. I messed up the audio. This is our first time using the new software. We have a new YouTube status. We have new software, new background, new intro.
We're live from Xfinity Center, right?
Live from Xfinity Center, new backgrounds. And one major change, everybody. You'll notice.
No, hold on. Can you hear me, Larry?
Yes. Hey, yes. You'll notice there are only two of us here tonight. We have a major announcement to make about IMS Radio. It is that Paul Douglas is an idiot, and he'll be back next week. That's the major announcement. Now he's out this week. He's just under the weather. He'll be back next week. I'm sorry, he's not an idiot. That was a bad thing to say. I just wanted to bust on Paul for a second.
What did he have? Wisdom teeth? He had his wisdom teeth out?
He had wisdom teeth taken out, and I had emergency surgery Monday to get one of my teeth taken out. Had an infection.
That's crazy because my wife is about to have hers taken out. I thought everybody else. I thought we all had them taken out at at 18 or 20 years old. You guys are all slacking.
Yeah. So one thing we're trying here with this new software, supposedly we're streaming to multiple places at once. You may be seeing us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, even on Twitch. So I don't know much about Twitch, but I set us up there. So maybe
there's some people who make like huge money streaming video games on Twitch.
Yeah, I think it's a video game site. There's lots of other streaming sites that do video, and I'm looking into all of them, and we'll see. But anyway, we have this new setup here. I think it's a lot better. Looks a lot better. We got the nice scroll bar at the bottom.
and more little features we haven't even had a chance to play with yet, right?
There's a bunch of new features coming. There's some things in YouTube. Just to let everybody know, we made it. We did get monetized. So I don't know if in the background there'll be video when this gets replayed, whether there's going to be commercials and stuff. But our first guest is here. It's Ralph Friedgen. We are going to add him right now. There he is, Mr. Ralph Friedgen. How you doing?
Doing great. How about you?
Good, Coach.
Good. Very good to see you. It's been a good season so far, wouldn't you say?
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. What do you think about the team so far and how everything's shaking out? Anything?
Well, I think this.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're kind of coming in and out, but yeah, I think first of all they've had a very favorable set schedule. 4 of the first 5 games at home that helps, and 4 of the first 6. The things I like about what they're doing is they're not beating themselves right now. I think they're second in the country in turnover ratio, which usually if you do that, you're going to be pretty good. And I think that they got some big games coming up. I think they potentially can win 10 games, maybe more. But when you look at their schedule, they've got 3 more home games after. Well, they got Indiana, which I think everybody's going to look at this game. I think it's really a big game. I think it's a trap game. I think they got to be ready to play. Indiana just lost or just barely beat Akron, but Akron is a MAC team and they're pretty good and they got a good quarterback, and those are tough outs, and they were able to pull it out in overtime. But they were probably looking ahead to Maryland, and I think Maryland, they won a big game up in Michigan State and played really well. But they got to watch this game because then we're going to be looking ahead to Ohio State. So I think this is a game the coach is going to really have to harp on playing their best and be ready to go, because if they get this one to be 5-0, going into Ohio State. And then, you look at their schedule, and they should be favored against Illinois, who, although I think that's going to be a tough out, they're pretty physical. I've watched them a couple of times on TV. And then you have Northwestern, who just beat Minnesota. But I watched them against Rutgers, and they didn't look that good. But, they got a lot of things going on there. And then they have Nebraska, and I always felt that's a tough trip out there because, especially if it's a noon game, you're playing about 11 o'clock. It seems like about 10, and I always thought that was tough when I was with Rutgers and we had to go out there to play. But, those 3 games, and then Rutgers, I think, is much improved. Got to play them away. But they're a pretty physical team. The quarterback makes plays. They can run the ball, and they're playing pretty good defense. That's going to be a tough out too. But
we don't like to think about your tenure with Rutgers, Coach. We don't like that. We remember the game where Maryland was up. How many points was the lead when you were the
150 points?
Yeah, you guys came back. Oh, we don't want to think about that one, Coach. You had to do that to us.
You guys didn't want me, so I had to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Ralph, any concern that that all the turnovers they're forcing is kind of fool's gold and might be masking a few issues? Like, it seems to me that too often there's guys running around in the secondary wide open, things like that. Is that something that you've thought about?
Well, I think they're very aggressive in their coverage, and I think that sometimes could be feast or famine. But I think they're very athletic back there too, and they're coming up with some key interceptions that are good interceptions. They're not cheap interceptions. They've got the guy covered and they're breaking on the ball, and they're coming up with some plays. I thought some of the turnovers against Michigan State were good fortune. I think Michigan State turned it over more than anything else. But if you're going to have a good team, every good team I ever had, I had a good quarterback, and Maryland has a good quarterback. Not only is he a good quarterback, he's an experienced quarterback. I mean, he's going to turn 23, I think, in February. I mean, a lot of guys are playing in the NFL at that stage, and that bodes well for them. They got to keep him healthy, and I think that bodes well for the rest of their team. I think as for the first 4 games, they stayed relatively healthy, and they're going to have to the back half of the schedule is, I think, tougher than the first half of the schedule. And, they got the big 3 coming up. They got, Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State. The good news is they got 2 of the 3 at home. And to me, they got to win 1 or 2 of those games at least, and, that's not going to be easy because they're very talented. I've watched all of them, watched all their 3 games. I watch 4 games at a time. So, on Saturday, I stay in front of the TV at like 14 hours. But
you and me both, Coach. I think a lot of us do that. Yeah.
I have I have a big screen TV, and I have picture-in-picture. So I bought the big screen TV because I had a littler one. I went picture-in-picture. I couldn't see them. I'm so damn old. So I got it where it's I can see it, and then I'll flip back and forth, so I might have 5 games going. I've had people come over and want to watch a game with me. I said, yeah, you're more than welcome, but yours is not going to be the main game. So they usually last a half, and they go, I can't deal with this anymore. So, but
we are speaking with one of the greatest coach, maybe the greatest coach in the history of Maryland football, Ralph Friedgen. And before I get to my next question, just want to remind everybody, we're doing a little promotion. After Ralph is done, we're going to be doing a promotion, going to be giving away 3 free months of Inside Maryland Sports. So make sure you stick around for that. Just want to let you guys know. Coach, you mentioned the schedule. You mentioned the big 3 opponents are going to be very difficult to beat for Maryland.
Not impossible.
Not impossible, of course. Which one do you think they have the best chance? Who do they match up with the best out of those 3?
I don't, that's a good question. I think it's what day you catch them on, and who, what's the injury status on both teams. Um, I would think we'd have a better chance of winning at home than away, but
Right.
you never know. You never know where that falls in the schedule, and coming in, if they can win this week, they ought to get ranked. I don't know going into week 5 how many teams are undefeated. And winning at Michigan State, I think, gives them a lot of credibility, even though they got their issues they're dealing with too. They're still Michigan State, and that's not an easy place to play either. So I think that's a big win for them. And I told Mike that, going into the game, it's the first away game, tough place to play, and I thought the first half of that game was as physical as I seen one of Mike's teams play. I told him that after the game, that I thought we were really aggressive and the hitting was really, really good. And then I think once we got 21-0, we took the foot off the brake a little bit, and then they kind of came back in the fourth quarter. But overall, I don't think they've played a full game yet, and I think the defense is playing well. I think they're not giving up many points. They're getting turnovers, and what's best is when you get good field position, the offense puts points on the board. So the special teams have been good. I think they're not committing as many foolish penalties as they have in the past either. The other thing I've been impressed with, I think the pass protection has been better. They seem to be taking them on a little tougher to the line of scrimmage. Tua is not a tall kid, and when that pocket gets around him, he has trouble seeing, and then he starts running all over the place. And when he can throw the ball on time, he's tough, and then he still keeps that evadability in his game. He really creates a lot of problems for the defense.
Ralph, is he the best? Is he the best quarterback in Maryland history? He's obviously the most prolific, but that's not necessarily,
Well, you got to just on his record. I mean, on his stats, you can put him up there. I think you got to look at the record. To me, the big record is winning and losing, and how many championships you have. But he's definitely got to be one of the best, just by what he's done. And I think he has a lot of good players around him, which really helps him too. The tight end's very good receiver. And it just seems like they got a couple of different receivers every game. I can't remember all the darn names. They're just I don't see. There's not one guy that to me that stands out each game. It's a different guy each game, and that's a good thing. That makes it really hard to defend them. But I think if they can stay healthy and not. They got to take one game at a time. They can't be looking ahead. They got to, because everybody's coming out. They're going to get the best shot of everybody now, and they got to understand that. If they go out there and they have one of these days where they just kind of, think they're going to go through the motions, they'll get beat, and then that'll hurt their season. Yep. And they have a chance right now to really have a really good season, and even if they don't win one of the big 3 games or 2 of them, whatever, they can still win 10 games, because if they can win the rest of the games they should be favored in, they should have 9 wins and then win the bowl game, and you get 10 wins. And that hasn't been done since I was there. So,
Ralph, I just want to let you know, we got a lot of people watching, and there's a lot of messages talking about how happy they are to see you. So I just wanted to pass that on. Everybody says you're looking good. And they're really thankful that you're still involved with the program. And so I just wanted to pass on those messages to you.
Tell everybody I said hello, and I appreciate all the good things. Keep me in their prayers. I need all the help I can get.
Yeah. When you were watching the Michigan State game, they had a tight end who kind of reminded me of Vernon Davis a little bit, that really big dude who was just throwing people off of him at times. Some of the Maryland defenders reminded me of what Vernon used to do to players. And I was wondering if you had any stories of Vernon and what a physical freak he was. Anything you remember about him that's kind of a funny story or something unique?
I remember going to his high school, and the high school coach told me that Vernon had to be careful when he goes by the girls' bathroom. And I got a little concerned about that. I said, well, what do you mean? He says, well, the girls, when they know he's coming by, they'll throw water on him, so he has to take his shirt off. I said, I used to have that same problem.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we recruited Vernon, and he was a wide receiver in high school. And then I remember when the first day we were there, we had an issue at tight end, and I thought it was going to be a real problem moving him to tight end, because he could probably play wide receiver because he was that fast. And I remember I brought him in my office, and because I hate recruiting a kid one way and then you change your mind, but circumstances sometimes dictate that. And I remember talking to him about it, and he said, "Hey, you're the coach. Put me where you want me." And that kid was highly recruited. You don't know, how much I appreciated that. Just his attitude was, whatever's best for the team, I'll do. And that always endears me to Vernon to me because of that. Of course, I knew his grandmother very well, and she actually came to the games after Vernon left. And I can remember when Vernon was a junior, I was on one of the AP, I think it was the AP All-American list, and we were going over the list, and they didn't even have Vernon listed. And I said to him, why isn't Vernon Davis listed as an All-American? I said, he has some better stats than your wide receivers that you just inducted. So they said, well, we don't know a whole lot about him. And then one guy said, well, you can't block. I said, what are you talking about? He can't block. So I kind of really went hard on him. And then when they came around to vote, they voted him in, and I was happy about that. But, after his junior year, and I brought him in, and I told him, Vernon, I don't want you to leave, but I think you're going to be a top 10 pick, and what all the pro scouts were telling me. And I said, I don't know if you want to pass up on money. So we brought, Addie in, who's Adelaide is his grandmother. And she said to me, Coach, I said to her, I don't know if you can pass this up, the money you're going to get. She said, we never have made a decision based on money. We trust in the Lord. I said, I think the Lord's trying to tell you something, Addie, that this could change your life and help you. And so when Vernon signed his deal, he bought his grandmother a house near me. She says, I'm in your neighborhood. I said, well, come on by and see me. She says, I only use it on the weekends. But I've talked to her since then, called her up if Vernon had a big game, or I think Vernon and his brother played in the same game one time. I thought that was pretty unique, and called her up on that. But she's doing well from the last I heard. I hope she's doing well. She's a great woman. She would come to my office. She didn't like watching football. She'd come in my office and watch the game after Vernon left. And she'd come about once a year to watch Maryland play, even though Vernon wasn't playing anymore, which was pretty special to me.
Ralph, I got one more for you before we have a basketball guest coming on in just a few minutes. But I want to ask you, does this kind of emergence that the program's having right now feel at all to you? Obviously, they're not winning 10 games every year like you did those 3 years, but so maybe to a lesser extent, but does it still kind of feel like that breakthrough, like that ascension? Is it a familiar feeling at all from those early 2000s?
It's hard for me to say that not being there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of a feeling you get with the team, but I would hope it is, because, they just got to keep it going. And, I think it really adds a lot more to it if you're battling for a conference championship, which I hope they can do, and like I said before the season, that's the next step they have to take. They can beat one or two of those teams, then you're going to see the confidence that they're going to get, and you won't know how high they can go after that.
Ralph, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. It's been great having you, and we still have a lot of season left. So if you're up for it, maybe we'll have you back again at the end of the year and talk about how the season as a whole, if you're up for that. And
Anything you guys want, I'll be there for you.
awesome. Thank you so much, Ralph. And again, like I said, we got lots of people talking about how much they appreciate you and love that you're still associated with the program. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ralph. That was Ralph Friedgen. What a great guy. One of the best coaches. When you look at the rankings, they won the national title in the 50s, right? And, of course, you have Claiborne. You've got Bobby Ross. He's in the conversation with all those guys, right? So,
easily.
Yeah.
I mean, look what the results have been since then. It's not that no one has matched what he's done. No one has come within the same zip code of what he did at Maryland.
Those 3 years were absolutely incredible, and it's kind of sad. You know how it ended. It ended on a bad note, and that was kind of rough, and especially after he wins 9 games and gets Coach of the Year in the conference, and then everybody's got problems with
Kevin Anderson.
Yeah, that was.
I'm getting a feeling that Ralph didn't actually burn his diploma by how closely he's watching all these games. I think that I'm joking. Obviously, he came out afterwards and said that he didn't actually burn it. But my point is, you can tell he's fully back on the bandwagon. Obviously, it helps that his guy Locks is running the show now. But
so everybody, just to let you know, in 3 minutes, we are supposed to be joined by Jahari Long from the basketball team. We're going to talk about that with him. After he's done, we're going to be doing a promotion where we're going to be giving away 3 free months of premium subscription to Inside Maryland Sports. So stick around for that. We're going to have you type something into the chat, and then we'll pick someone at random, and that person will get the 3 months. Also, I'd like to ask everybody, please do us a favor and subscribe. If you like the Terps, you like the show, you want to support the Terps in the show, please do us a favor and subscribe. We're trying to build that up. And I don't know if anybody's watching on any of the other platforms right now, on Twitch, on Twitter, on Facebook. We know how many. I can see how many are on YouTube. But if anybody's on these other sites and you want to type in the chat, I think we can see here. We'll see how that's going.
Yeah, I feel like I need to check and see if it's popping up on Facebook, just so we know.
I don't have
pulled it off.
Well, look, Paul's not here. He can't talk, but maybe he can do that. He can go check the sites, and he can do that. He can do that legwork for us. Hey, Wes, what's going on? Thank you, Wes. A lot of people commenting on the new look of the show. It is awesome. There's so many cool bells and whistles. Just getting into the surface right now, doing our best with our first time here. There's a little bit of learning curve we're going through, but we're getting.
You're looking great up there. At the back of your head, I can see you up there. Your posture's really good.
Wow, we just got a chat from Twitch.
Joke, I'm going to use that joke for at least 6 months.
We got a chat from Twitch. Someone from Twitch said Twitch test. And I just saw that. Yeah, I swear to God. So someone's watching on Twitch. I don't know who it is, but someone's watching. At least one person.
Gamers.
Yeah. So I don't know. Hey, it's all new. It's new territory for us. Football team. We'll get into more of it after Jahari's gone. But Michigan State was great. Obviously, anytime you win by that large a margin, I agree with you. It wasn't that lopsided, but the turnovers is what did it.
Turnovers very well might be fool's gold. I'm not saying. I hope they are, but. It looks like we got Jahari all lined up.
Jahari's here, so let me add him in here.
Hello.
Can we see him? We can't see him.
Jahari.
Can you see him, Jeff?
Yeah, I can see him. You can't see him? Can you see me, Jahari?
Yeah, I can see you.
Oh, hang on. There we go. I see him now. It was just buffering for me. Maybe I'm having a little issues. How you doing, Jahari? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm doing great.
He looks frozen to me.
Nope, I can hear him. How's the off season going? How do you feel? How do you feel like the team's coming together so far?
The off season has been great. Now with just about to start official practice. So far, everybody's been looking good. Everything's coming along great. We had a great trip in Italy, so I think our chemistry became much better there. So everything's been good.
Jahari, you guys went to Italy over the summer, and by the looks of it, you you had a great time on the court and off the court. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the trip, both on and off, how it was?
Uh, Off the court, it was great. It was a great experience. It was more of like a lot of history lessons. Like we visited the Coliseum. And honestly, I can't remember all the places that we visited, but I have a lot of videos. But it was great. It was a great experience. We had fun. We talked to each other a lot. We laughed. We ate at some nice places. And on the court, we just basically set like a standard of how we play as far as like just playing hard and playing fast. And we did that every single game. We defended well, and that was the main thing that I think we focused on going down there was if the offense or anything wasn't going, just make sure that we're the best defensive team that we can be. And I think that's a staple in the program with Coach Willard. So I'm glad we were able to do that.
So, Jahari, when I look at this team, obviously last year, nationally, people didn't expect that much from you. You guys come out, have that red hot start, go to the tournament when nobody expects you or nobody had projected you to go. You win a game there. Do you feel like this team's better? To me, when I look at you on paper, I see, a better team than last year, more veterans, and obviously these freshmen are going to be really good for you. How do you feel like this team, what's the next step for you guys?
Um, on paper, we're a better team, but I think the next step for us this year as a program is to be more mature. Like last year, we had road game. We weren't so great on the road, and I think that'll be like a big thing for us this year is to just be mature on the road as far as in close games. Don't panic. Just always remain calm, and just remember that. Just remember the game plan that we came into the game with from the jump. I think it was times last year when we would play on the road, we would kind of like break apart when things started to break down. But I think this year, as far as how we've been looking like in practice and everything, will be better as far as on the road and at home as well, and even at neutral sites. I just think the maturity of this team is on the next level.
Jahari, is there anybody right now that's kind of flying under the radar that maybe didn't get a ton of time last year or is new to the team that people maybe aren't expecting that you think might surprise everybody this year? Besides
Really,
yourself?
yeah, I believe myself wholeheartedly just being more healthy this year and just as much work as I put in the gym. But really, I think all of our freshmen are really good. I think Noah, who also came off the bench last year, he'll be very good for us this year. And really everyone's just improved their game as a team. I'm trying to remember everyone who was on the team last year that didn't play as much.
Not many guys.
Yeah, we kind of got a new team, but the way we've been able to gel has been great though. But I think everybody will pretty much shock the world as far as the skill level, the how hard we play. I think we'll be a pretty fun team to watch.
So I really like your game, especially how instinctual you are with your passing. Not just saying that because you're on the show. I've said it before, on Twitter and such. But obviously with not a lot of guard depth behind Jameer, you should have a pretty significant role this year. What do you kind of feel your role is going to be this season?
I think my role will increase more as a leader, more as a vocal leader, because now I'm like one of the older players on the team, and we have so many new guys. I think me being more of a vocal leader will be crucial. I also feel like I've matured as far as how I approach the game. and my body has just been feeling much better. So I feel more athletic. I feel faster. So I'm more confident in my game as far as scoring, passing, defending. I'm just much more confident than I was last year. So I think that was the main thing for me, just getting healthy. And I've been able to get healthy and not just get healthy, but also get better. So I feel like I can affect the game in so many ways as far as on defense, on offense. So I think I'll have a big year on the team this year.
What are your team goals? Do you have goals as a team? Do you set out that way and say we want to do this, this, and this? Or do you have to like compartmentalize and just take it game by game, moment by moment, and then let it happen as it happens?
We talk about our goals all the time as far
Okay.
as winning the Big Ten championship and being a top team in the country as far as winning the national championship. We talk about it all the time, but you know, at the end of the day, we have to do it. And I think that comes with taking one game at a time and just focusing on the now and what we can get better at. And Coach Willard stresses that a lot. Like, what can we get better at every single day? And so far it's been like clockwork how much we've improved every day as far as defensively, offensively, just picking spots on defense, where to be, and everything. We just inserted a whole new, I want to say, not system, but like more principles from when the year first started to now. And everything's just been great.
Jahari, everybody knows about Jamie and Deshaun by now with everything that's been written about them. So I want to ask you about another guy who I saw in a summer workout and just looks different from everybody else on the court, and that's Matty Traore. You know, the kid, I mean, he looks a legit 7 feet, but with like a small forward kind of body. He's not a burly guy, but looked really athletic, and I saw him knocking down some shots. What are your observations of him so far?
Matty, he's great. He's you know, I think he's so versatile. He can put it on the floor. He can score. He can defend. I think, in my opinion, that's probably the hardest matchup that I've had, like every practice, just because of his length. So it's hard to get a shot over him or to get to the rim on him because he's so great at blocking shots. He's a great defender as well. And I think he's been actually going really hard in the weight room, and he's been taking care of himself as far as eating, just trying to gain weight. And he's been very serious about that. And I think since he's been doing that, I have all the confidence in the world that he'll have like a really good year this year.
Jahari, when we have people on the show, we always end the interview by playing a game called Fill in the Blank. I'm going to ask you 5 rapid-fire questions. You say the first thing that comes to your mind, okay?
Okay.
The funniest player on the team is?
Dante Scott.
The worst singer on the team is?
Noah Bachelor.
Your favorite restaurant in College Park is?
Chipotle.
After your basketball career is over, hopefully after a long pro career, you're going to be a?
High school basketball coach.
Okay, and last one, the winner of Big Ten men's basketball this year will be?
Maryland basketball. University.
There we go. There we go. That's what we want to hear.
That was a tough one, right?
That was a tough one. The one more thing we ask of everybody who comes on the show, could you do us a favor and say, this is Jahari Long, and you're listening to IMS Radio.
This is Jahari Long, and you are listening to IMS Radio.
Jahari, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck on the season. We're excited to see you get out there and win some games.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks Jahari.
See.
Jahari Long, ladies and gentlemen.
Good stuff.
Love having the players on the team. He had a lot of good insight, a lot of things. I like how he said Noah Bachelor's looking good. Said some good stuff about Matty Traore. And, you know, if they're going to have a good season, those bench guys, that's important. Jahari.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't just say that because he was on the show. I like his game, man. He's the best passer on the team, and I mean, Donald Carey's gone. Bachelor has not proven himself. He could prove himself, but not a ton of guards. Obviously, DHS and Lamote, so he's going to play more minutes. And I mean, he's just one of those fearless attacking kind of guys. So I think he's a big piece for them.
He had his moments last year, and then sometimes didn't play a lot for whatever reason. We're not in the inner workings of why that's happening, but he had his moments. You can see there's
very good moments,
right. So we can all hope that that's going to increase, and his playing time is going to increase. And
really, you need him. You need Kellum, Swanton, Roger, and Bachelor to not be stars, but to all be capable, impactful bench guys, right? He's shown he's got that, but him and the other guys collectively, that's what you need, because they don't have really, with Ian Martinez leaving, there's not really much proven commodities on the bench at all.
Before we get into recruiting for football and basketball recruiting, that's not going to be fun. But before we do that, we got a little promotion. We need everybody live right now. Any platform you're on, it doesn't matter. Type into the chat, Paul is a loser. Type, Paul is a loser into the chat. Doesn't matter what platform you're on. We'll collect everybody's name who types it out into the chat, and we will give away to one of you. We'll do a random drawing. We'll give away 3 free months to Inside Maryland Sports, a premium subscription. There we go. Look, we love this. Look how many people think you're a loser, Paul. Watch, Paul's going to type it too. He doesn't need the premium, but he did do it. Yes, he did, and he typed that before I said it because it's on delay. So he typed it too. Yeah, that's good. We'll give you guys some time. Take your time doing it. We'll do it at the end. We'll get all the names at the end, and we'll select a winner of the three free months. So we're gonna do a little bit of we're gonna go back to football a little bit. We'll finish that up. We'll get back to basketball recruiting. So one thing we're gonna do right now is look at the projections. We have all updated them. The only thing is, Jeff, you have not given me your national rank yet. Where do you think they are ranked nationally?
I'll go 28.
28.
Without having the teams in front of me, they feel like 28.
Okay, so you and Paul are very close at 28 and 27. I have upped my projections. I'm at 7.65 wins now. Beginning of the year, I started at 6.73, and it has slowly, with a little dip after week 2 because of what happened in the Buffalo game, slowly increased. I'm up to 7.65. The analytics sites, 8.2 wins at ESPN FPI. Massey, 8.09. Team rankings, 8.25. PFF has them exactly at 8. Team rankings has them 8.25 rounds to 8.3. So the analytics sites have them higher than I do. You and Paul both have them higher than I do. Hoagie is the only one that's lower. Pessimist Hoagie, of course, lower than everyone else. I just can't give more than 10% against any of the big 3. I'd like to, but yeah.
Especially Ohio State, because it's on the road. I mean,
yes,
they've put a scare in them twice. 2 times they've pretty much had basically a 50-50 shot to beat them at home. The Piggy overtime game in last year, so they can do it at home. On the road, it's been a bloodbath every time. I don't think it'll be a bloodbath this year, but that's just, I think Michigan is the setup. They're not. It's at Maryland. It's the game the game everyone's going to be looking forward to all year. It's a sandwich game for Michigan. That's their best shot. And Penn State also looks really good. They might be better than Michigan.
Really good. They might be the best team in the conference. If I were doing national rankings, you have to put Ohio State as the best win. They beat Notre Dame. I think you have to put Ohio State the highest, and then I think immediately after is Penn State. That's nationally too. They're number 4 or 5 in the country, I think. Penn State, they got to be. I would put Michigan below them.
I mean,
Michigan
he's just been stacking 4-star talent year after year. It's
yeah, and it's
not just
paying
the front
off.
line, the depth, and the defense is absurd.
The defense is absurd. I'm
it was
worried.
Interesting that debate though we had on this site about which win people would rather have between those three. I saw some Penn States. That's obviously just a personal vendetta, but I don't see how you choose anything but Ohio State if you have your pick. I mean, that's
Of which one to win, I would pick Penn State.
really.
Yes.
I think that it's kind of been there, done that. Not often, but you've done that. You've beaten them a few times.
Yeah, but
State
beating them
never
a
got that
few
one.
times is important. It impacts recruiting in a much bigger way.
Not more than Ohio State.
I mean, just think about how the fan bases overlap in this area. Think about what it might do to attendance and faith and excitement in the program. I think Penn
Yeah.
State has all of that. And the other two would as well. But I think beating Penn State would have all of that much more than
I just
the
feel like
others.
Ohio State is a sexier, it's a bigger name.
It is a bigger
accomplishment.
name. I agree with you there. It is a bigger
Either
name.
way, if you have one of out of those three, you're in heaven. So, but most people I think took Ohio State, at least 2/3 probably. But like Ralph said, even if you don't beat any of those, if you take care of the ones you're supposed to win, and you have a bowl game, you can still have, the most wins since when was the last 9-win season?
It was
Oh,
Ralph's
man.
last year.
Yeah, so 2011.
And how close Randy Edsel got to that too.
Yeah, he got lucky though, because he beat Michigan during the one cycle of the past however many decades when they were awful.
really bad. Yeah, they were really bad. They were really bad that year.
He
But
beat
see,
Penn
it
State
still
when they were very
happened.
good.
It still
Yeah,
happened.
can't take it away from him,
Yeah, it still
as
happened.
much as a lot of
And-
people might like to.
Football recruiting, lots of good stuff percolating for football recruiting. Some commits recently that are decently highly ranked, potential flips. It looks like by signing day, they might inch closer and closer to that top 25, maybe get in. What do you think?
I think they're definitely going to have to pull off several big name guys to get in the top 25. I think maybe it's more realistic to think around that 30 mark. I mean, it's not impossible, but like we discussed last week, for Maryland compared to the other teams that are in the top 25, most of them with their resources and brand name and NIL and everything, 30 would be a great place to be. Like I said last week, it's mostly down now to guys who are committed to other schools that they're recruiting. There's a handful of uncommitted guys, but mostly guys that they want to flip. They've had several of them on campus lately. I wrote yesterday on the site about a few guys, including a couple 4-stars who I think are very receptive to their pitch, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to flip them down the stretch. So, I mean, just got to keep it rolling, right? You can't take care of Indiana. You at least play Ohio State decent, and you keep winning the games you're supposed to win. And I think some of these local guys who've been in high school as the program has gotten better will be able to buy in after a third straight successful season.
Hoping so. That would be pretty great. Top 25 recruiting class, and that's another thing beating those schools helps with too, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why it's not only that, but those schools, especially Penn State, recruit the area so heavily. So that one does have that little bit of extra value because of the regional recruiting. Ohio State also comes in, but they're more just cherry picking, an elite guy here and there, whereas Penn State is making a living in the DMV area. So yeah, I mean, anytime you can beat those teams. But it'll be interesting to see what the crowd's like this weekend. They'll have a bunch of visitors there again, and I think the kids, they need to see that live game day experience. That's definitely hurt them in recent years, even the past couple of years while they were starting to win more. The atmosphere at the games, when the stands are half empty, and then you look at like senior day, it seems like an annual tradition on senior day that there's hardly anyone there to watch these guys. So that's starting to improve. People are starting to come out more, and that should help too.
Now we're going to move on to something that's not so pleasant. Basketball recruiting, some tough news today. That's all public, correct? It's not just...
I mean, it's not public. It's not really public, but, it might be public. I'm sure. Yeah, I think some other guys are tweeting similar information that looks like Matthew Hodge, who is one of Maryland's top remaining targets. He's very likely Villanova bound. His father told me this morning that he's going to announce on Friday. So, Maryland has a couple days to try to turn it around, assuming that that's not bad info, which I really don't think it's bad info. I think right now it is Villanova. So that would be a big blow, obviously, because as we've discussed a million times, Willard's shopping list is tiny this year. Like I've said, there's definitely some backups, but they're not A1 backups. Like I can see if some things don't work out, kind of punting till the spring and the transfer portal and things like that. So, if Hodge ends up at Villanova, you're down to two guys, Derek Queen, who will be visiting in about a month. Obviously, everybody knows who he is by now, but five-star center from Baltimore. Down to Maryland, Houston, Indiana, visited LSU last week. That's when you really, especially if you don't get Hodge. I mean, Quinn was already felt like a must get. If you don't get Hodge, she really feels like a must get. And then Afosa Oliagu, Canadian wing, who we've discussed, number 20 player in the 2025 class, very likely to reclassify to 2024. Maryland's been all over him. Greg Manning Jr., one of Willard's assistants, was out there, I think, 2 weeks ago in Atlanta to see him, and I believe he was out there again this week. So they are going all out on him. So, there's still, if you get Queen and Oliogu, you have 2 5-stars, which probably has never happened at Maryland, but that's a big if, obviously. So the Hodge news, based on how, the relationship you had with them and how long you've focused on him, there's no sugarcoating that it would be a pretty big blow to lose out.
So it's still salvageable.
Still salvageable, but the options are starting to run a little bit thin.
Yeah. I guess you said the 2 big names still, Queen and Oliagu. Anyone else there are no backups, nothing else?
Yeah, really? I was told that they do have a few guys that they've been keeping warm, and I'm sure if Hodge goes to Villanova, then maybe we'll hear a name pop up, but there's no primary guys that they've really been working hard on, and we're anywhere near, as far as I know at least, and I think I have a pretty good feel for what they're up to. But if he picks Nova, maybe another forward jumps up, because obviously with Dante Scott being gone after this year, there's a lot of minutes there at the 4. So you got to get somebody good.
All right. Well, after that tough news, we're going to move on to something that is my favorite segment of the show. And Paul just only has to listen to it this time because he is in the chat listening. We're going to hear from our good friend, Wheels, and his non-revenue report. Here we go.
Hey, everyone. This is Wheels with your Inside Maryland Sports non-revenue report. Let's start with some good news. The 8th-ranked field hockey team bounced back from a loss to Princeton with a 2-1 win over number 6 UVA in Charlottesville.
Nice.
They open Big Ten play this Thursday.
Huge.
At number 7 Rutgers.
Just crushing UVA in every sport.
At 11-3 on the year, including a Big Ten win against Michigan. They head to Rutgers on Wednesday night, looking to improve to 2-1 in Big Ten play.
Big Ten volleyball is no
Golf
joke,
has
too.
Completed 3 fall tournaments so far, finishing as high as 4th at a tournament in Michigan last weekend. Now for the not so good news. Men's soccer fell to Wisconsin on Sunday night 1-0 to drop to 0-2-1 in conference play. The team has won just a single game so far this season, with goals being very difficult to score. They look to get their first Big Ten win of the season, with Northwestern visiting Ludwig Field on Friday. Similarly, the women's team sits at 0-2-1 in Big Ten play so far. They've yet to score a goal
Come on,
through
Sasho.
3 conference games. They head to East Lansing on Friday to play a very good Michigan State team. And that's it for your IMS non-rev report. Take care, everyone.
All right, thank you, Wheels. I want to remind everybody we're doing a promotion. In just a little bit, we're going to give away 3 free months of premium subscription to Inside Maryland Sports. All you have to do is be here live in the chat if you're listening right now on any of the platforms and type Paul is a loser.
I like how there was just a belated Paul is a loser, like
Yeah,
I've
been
like he was just adding that to the conversation.
Yeah. Well, we got a
drive-by insult.
We know all the platforms are working. We got a comment from Twitch. We got a like from Facebook. I can see that stuff. I don't really see much else of what's going on there, but we do see all the chat kind of consolidated and some of the things. Still getting used to the new software, but we're getting there. So if you're live right now, type that out. Paul's a loser. Get a chance to win 3 free months premium. And while you're at it, do us a favor, subscribe, hit that bell to get notifications. You'll know every time we go live. Give us a like. Thank you very much. We are going to end the show with true or false. And they're all going to you this time, Jeff. You get to do all 5 of them.
That seems like an upgrade to me.
It's an upgrade. All right, true or false? The results on the basketball court are going to be so good that only the diehards will be upset with Kevin Willard's recruiting.
Just this year or long term?
I mean, this year really, but yeah.
Yeah. No, because the diehards will obsess about recruiting no matter what. Thank God, or I would be like.
But I'm saying only the
insurance.
diehards will be upset with him.
I got it. Okay. I misunderstood. Yes, I think so, man. I think the team is, way better than nationally people are realizing. You got 2 guys. I think Jameer Young and Julian Reese are both first team all-conference talents. Obviously, you never know how their season's going to go. You got experience. You have the 2 really good freshmen. So I think it has the potential to be a great season.
Okay, number 2. If Maryland football beats Indiana convincingly on Saturday, they'll be ranked on Sunday, if for no other reason than to set up a ranked showdown for TV purposes.
True. Yeah, they're lingering close enough. They got some votes. Some people are going to lose ahead of them. Once you look at 5-0 in a major power conference, even though their schedule has been very cushy, you see 5-0, you're probably going to vote for them. So, yeah, I think they'll be in that 23 to 25 range would be my guess.
I see Antoine wrote true, but he's on delay, so I'm not sure if that was for the first one or second one, but
he might have been responding to Paul as a loser.
Yes. He's responding to everyone saying that Paul's a loser. That's what he's doing. Good point. Okay, number 3, Maryland will end up with 0 freshmen in the 2024 basketball recruiting class.
Definitely false. They're going to get somebody. Just hope it's not I was going to name some guys from the latter Mark Turgeon years, but that would be kind of mean.
Yeah.
He'll get guys, and I don't think he's not an all-world recruiter. He's not a guy. I don't think he loves recruiting by any stretch. He might. I don't know. Turgeon might have liked it even more than him. I have no idea, but that's not. He works hard at it. I just don't. I think he's one of those guys who just loves to coach. But that said, he's gonna. His assistants are good enough, and he's good enough that he's gonna get some guys who are at least solid. But nobody wants solid. And when you talk about the goal winning championships, to be winning championships every year, as he said, you got to do better than solid unless you're counting on coaching them up every year. And that's always an uphill battle. So yeah, they're going to get players, but one of them better be Derek Queen, right?
Yes. All right. Number 4, Maryland will end up with at least 2 more 4-stars in the 2024 football recruiting class.
I comfortably will say true on that. I think there's enough guys. And again, I've written about several of them on the site who I think they have a good chance with, who are committed to other schools, but keep popping up at CQ Stadium every week for the games, that I would be surprised if they don't have at least 2 more 4-stars.
And last one, the new streaming software is so much better than Zoom.
True. This is amazing. And it's so cool to be in an Xfinity Center recording live. I just saw Jahari Long after the interview, just went back there on the court. I saw him shooting around. So this is like, I'm just going to kill that joke. But anyways, no, yeah, this is amazing. Why didn't we do this 3 years ago or 8 years ago? I wish we had. I don't know, but you know what?
Look, I tried to make do with what I could, and
yeah, no, it's not your fault, but yeah, this is amazing, and we got more. I think a few more cool features we're going to toy with, so I'm thrilled. This is just such a better overall production.
And apparently, Antoine Cuff's little cousin will be a 4-star by the end of the season. Let's give Kevin Willard a heads up on that one.
Give me the scoop, Antoine. If Maryland's recruiting him, send me the scoop.
Got another Twitch comment. I don't know what's going on Twitch. I'm gonna check that out afterwards. Maybe there's more people there than on YouTube. We'll see. We'll see how that works. All right, everybody.
Fortnite right here on IMS Radio. You got like a Ralph Friedgen setup. Fortnite.
We are going to now share this guy here. Does everybody see? Here it is. Here's everybody who responded. The next time these change, whoever has a 1 next to their name will get Michael Wheatley. We already got you in there. You don't need to type it again. The next,
no, he might just be.
We're gonna do a random number generator in column C after the change. Whoever has a 1 will get the 3 free months. Here we go. There we go. Terp. And he posted on YouTube, I believe. So, Terp, it is your responsibility to get in touch with us. Either send us an email, reply to this video on YouTube, write us a direct message on Inside Maryland Sports, on maryland.247sports.com. Get in touch with us. Terp, we will get you that 3 free months. Sorry to everybody else, but I think we're going to do this a couple more times, right? Let's see. NG, you were on there, NG. Stop it. Do I need to bring up the sheet? I'm going to bring up the sheet again. NG, you were right. Let's see. You were right. I'm going to highlight it right here, NG. It says NG 8:12 p.m. That's you, NG.
It was rigged. Stop the count.
It wasn't rigged. I added everybody there. It's not fixed.
I saw you throwing those
ballots. Terp says, what email address? Send to imsradioims@gmail.com. imsradioims@gmail.com. And Jeff will get you that 3-month subscription. We need your name and your info. We need your board name as well. All of that stuff. So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun using this software. A little stressful for me because I don't have the comfort level yet, but hopefully everything went off smoothly. Can we bring back the intro song? Ethan, I can't. And the reason is because it gets flagged because we used music that we don't own. And therefore, now that we're monetized, we cannot use that anymore. So we can't use it. But what I'll do, I'm just going to post it on our YouTube channel. So anytime anybody wants to, they can just go to that specific video. That video itself won't get monetized, but everything else will be. We just can't use it anymore. So, yeah, let's look forward to 5-0. That's right, Franklin. Let's look forward to 5-0. And thank you guys very much for joining. This is IMS Radio.